Good morning. We thought we would film sort of a typical morning for me. So I start off in the house after breakfast, and then I'll take you on my morning commute. Kind of lucky right now because it's nice out. We don't have to bundle up before we go out. Here we are already, so come on in. So usually I change my clothes because I don't bring all the dirt inside the house, but I will spare you that today. And I will take you on sort of the route the clay makes as it goes through the studio. I store all my clay here. This is how it arrives in big boxes. And then this is where I throw. So I have my wedging table here, and I actually have some clay set up. So what I do is I cut and weigh the pieces of clay that I want. So if I'm making mugs, for example, I use 1 pound, 3 ounces of clay. Weigh them all out, wedge them up, which is kind of like kneading bread, just so it becomes all uniform. And then I store it in a Tupperware bin, which I have over here for the day. And then I throw on this wheel here. And I throw on these wooden discs called bats. They have little holes that match up with the pins on the wheel. And then I can just throw and remove throughout the day. And then after that, I let the clay set up. So it's actually kind of a perfect time to do the video because I've got a bunch of things. I've got a couple of teapots and some pitchers and some plates just in the drying stage. And I like to wait till it gets a certain kind of dryness to trim. Kind of like a soft, medium cheese maybe. And then I bring it over here, and this is my second wheel where I trim. I've got this handy dandy Giffen grip that I use, so I don't have to worry too much about centering. And then I put the pieces on, so I can show you quickly with the plate. And then it's centered, and then I turn the wheel on, and then I can use these tools here and cut away the clay to make a nice foot ring and a thinner bottom. So I do that with all my pieces. And then after that's all done, I let them dry slowly. So this is my rack I move everything over to. So I coat it in slip, store it in my humidors here. I forgot this step before they're drying here. I have these humidors I can show you. So these are all trimmed and slipped and ready to carve. So you see they've got nice trimmed bottoms, 3 coats of slip, and they're a perfect dryness for trimming. So after this stage, I bring them over to this table and I carve. So yesterday I was carving small bowls. So these are all carved and dried, and then our next stage is to clean them all up with a nice damp sponge and then let them dry on these shelves here. So later on today at about noon, if you want to tune in, I'm going to be actually doing my very first live Instagram, and I'm going to do a little demonstration on carving. But back on with the tour. So after they're all done and cleaned up, I put them over here, signed, let them dry, and then at that point, once they're completely dry and this rack is full, I load them into the kiln and I fire them. And that's called a bisque firing. And I have some example pieces here that have been bisque fired. So they're all done, and you can see they're a different color. And at this point is when I want to glaze them. So I bring them out of the kiln, I wash them, I wax their bottoms, I sand their rims if they're a drinking vessel, and then I bring them over to the glazing area. So I'll show you. Follow me over here. This is where I do all my glazing. So these are all my ingredients to make glazes, and these are all my different glazes that I use. I don't use a ton. I have about 6, and I usually stick to those, and then 6 colors plus a clear, sorry. And but sometimes, like recently, I've been wanting to experiment, so I'm trying out some pink glazes, and I've been trying to work in a little bit of underglazing with some color on the designs. So if you check out my Instagram, you can see where I've done some different colors, because I need to shake things up every once in a while. So after they're glazed, they come over to these shelves over here. And these are the same bowls, but glazed. So this brownie color will become that amber, and this white will go clear. And these are completely glazed and ready to be fired for the second time. And then again, they get loaded into my kiln, and they get fired. And glaze firing usually takes about 12 hours, 10 to 12 hours of firing, and then it has to cool down for at least 12 hours again. And then I pull them out, and then I sand the bottoms and wash them again, and put them over here on what I kind of call my gallery shelves. So this is where the work waits until I've either delivered it to a gallery or listed it on Etsy to be sold. So don't forget to go to CoLab's online store, where they will have listed a bunch of my work on there. And that's pretty much it. So if you have any questions, feel free. I could also walk you through the whole shipping part, but that's not very interesting, because that continues on around. And if you have any questions, or you would like to watch me do a little carving thing, tune in later on today. Thank you.